Good morning, KW. That's my inner Marty Miller coming out. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the ProCoach account and opportunities and the file and how you can know which documents that you need to use inside of your forms library. Okay, so first of all, remember we've got two platforms for you to work with. You're going to be living with the PCX Teams platform. That is your training platform only. That's not anything other than your training. Okay. You can keep track of your appointments in there. You can add customers in there if you want, but that's not primarily what that's for. That is your training platform. Command is your business platform. This is where everything in your business is going to live. So eventually you won't even need PCX. Instead, you will just be meeting with me one-on-one coaching, and the PCX platform will be used for note taking and roster purposes and internal purposes, but it's not used for you. That's your training platform. Now, as we move over to the command side, we're going to go ahead and start a new opportunity. So I'm going to do that by going to contacts. And my good buddy Drew Johnson called me and says he wants to buy a home. And so I've got an appointment set with him. And so I'm going to look him up under my contacts. I'm going to click on Drew, and then I'm going to go over here to opportunities, and I'm going to click on create an opportunity for Drew. He's going to be buying a home. He's going to be doing that with his fiance, and her name is Dana Hawkins. Yes, relation, my sister. Okay. And the custom tag I'm going to put on here is they are going to be in Idaho, and they are going to be a buyer. And if you notice that it's not in here as a buyer, you can create that as a new tag. So I'm going to create that. Boom, now it's a tag. We're going to close escrow probably, I'm going to say by June 30th. The budget is 850, and the commission rate on that is 3%, although I probably won't even charge them, but there you go. We're in the cultivate stage, and the assignee is ProCoach, and I'm going to also add my name. I can't because I'm the admin. There you go. Create. So in your case, it would have your name. Now I have the opportunity built. And you notice that when I click on the contact, there it shows up. So one item to note is that if I were to move this contact by clicking on these three dots and clicking change account and move it to my personal account, this opportunity would still show. And all the notes and everything you've got are going to stay with it. That's an important thing to know. Okay, so I'm going to click on Drew Johnson, la-di-da, la-di-da. And then now what's going to happen is I have an opportunity to to select a proper checklist. So on the left-hand side of the opportunity, you're going to see this entire thing, this little synopsis of what we built out. You can collapse this panel by selecting collapse panel. And now you got details, documents, offers and commissions, vendors, notes, and the timeline. We're going to focus on documents right now. So we're going to click on documents. Now, this is your file, so to speak. This is where, if we were to, in the old days, yeah, like when I got into real estate, when you'd have a filing cabinet with the files of all your clients, you'd open up the file drawer, you'd go alphabetical, you'd find your client file, you'd pull the file out, and that's where all the documents would live. All the signed documents would live. So that's basically what this is, except for in a digital format. So you're going to pick the checklist type. You're going to find the checklist. In this particular one, it's an Idaho residential buyer that we're going to do. But if he were vacant land, if it were commercial sales, if it were Washington residential under contract, Washington vacant land and acreage, you got Idaho rejected offers, you've got Washington commercial. So whatever it is that you need, you're just going to select that one. I'm going to go Idaho residential. When I click on that, you'll notice that on the left-hand side here under Idaho residential, you've now got three categories: consultation, under contract, and closed. Consultation is sort of optional. If you're going to be using the RE5 prior to showing agreement, then that's where this would live. Any rejected offers that you wrote for this client and maybe they didn't win, you could put those in this section as well. We're going to look under contract. So as we select under contract, notice that it highlights in teal. And then now this is the list of documents that are required. So if you're ever wondering what documents do I actually need to build out in my form simplicity, this is the list. So first thing on here is the MLS listing, the private version with all of the necessary information, the agency brochure, which is the disclosure of agency, the RE14, which establishes agency and is the buyer representation agreement. Eventually, we move into the RE21, which is the purchase and sale agreement. Any counteroffers that you may have had while you're in the transaction, the signed RE25 or the 26, depending on whichever one applies, a copy of the earnest money from the client if they give you one. They may not, because again, you're not supposed to be handling it. And then the receipt of the earnest money from the title company. They will send that to you. A copy of the preliminary title report, or sometimes mostly called the title commitment report. If there was a lead-based paint disclosure, then that would be conditional. If there is an RE10 in the transaction, that's where that would live. Then the inspection for your protection, which is required, goes here. Anything else that is optional, you have addendums in here, a termination. We don't like to talk about termination. You've got other optional items that are and conditional items that are all apart. So you see when it says receipt, re, when it says required, then that document is required. Now, how do you upload the document? So there's a couple of different ways that you can upload. The first one is is manually. You can see right here it says attach files from. So when I'm on this mode right here, any documents that might be saved on my desktop or my cloud or Google Drive or wherever you might keep them on your computer, you would simply make sure that that's checked, click on browse, your finder, if you're on a Mac or whatever on your other thing shows up, you would grab the document, hit open, and it would throw it right into your file for you. The second way to do this is through eSign, through DocuSign, and that will be on another video. But I want to show you and share with you that form simplicity, as I've been saying in class, is primarily your forms library. That's not really the place you want to be doing anything other than obtaining your documents, filling them out for your clients to sign, and then saving them to your desktop or your cloud. And then you're going to want to upload them into DocuSign that's attached to your command account. Once you've done that, now you have the ability to use DocuSign, and DocuSign interacts with Command, making life a whole lot easier for you throughout the entire transaction. There's also a saved paper trail. So if an audit were ever come about and there would need to be like some kind of help that Jana needed with you and your client and who signed what when, then this would be the place where that would be easily found instead of trying to dive through form simplicity. All right, so that's enough for this video. You know how to get to the checklist. You know how to create the checklist. You know how to know which documents are required for whichever particular checklist that you have. You know how to manually upload, and then you know that you can connect DocuSign to your command so that you can easily have forms signed and transfer them over to your file. That way, in the next video, we're going to dive into DocuSign, how to conduct business in DocuSign, and then how to move the documents into your file. All right, guys, see you next time.